It was one of those lazy Saturday mornings in our quiet suburb outside Seattle, where the rain had finally let up, leaving everything smelling fresh and damp. I'd woken up with that nagging itch to do something productive, anything to shake off the restlessness that had been building inside me for months. David, my husband of 12 years, had already slipped out for what he called a quick errand, one of those vague excuses he'd been tossing around more often lately, coming back hours later with a distant look in his eyes and a scent on his collar that wasn't from our home. I pushed the thought away, like I always did, and decided to tackle the garage. Our little two-story house in the Pacific Northwest had accumulated years of clutter there, forgotten camping gear, dusty holiday lights, stacks of boxes from moves we barely remembered. The place was a mess, a silent testament to how we'd let things pile up without noticing. I tied my hair back, slipped on some worn sneakers, and stepped into the dim space, flipping on the flickering overhead light. The air was thick with that musty odor of neglect, and shadows clung to the corners like unspoken regrets. I started small, sweeping out the cobwebs, tossing broken garden tools into a trash bag. But as I shifted a rickety metal shelf to reach a crumpled box behind it, something caught my eye, a glint of metal buried in the dust. I wedged myself into the narrow gap, my heart picking up a strange rhythm, and pulled it out. It was a heavy-duty toolbox, army green with chipped paint and deep scratches, the kind a contractor might use for serious work. I'd never seen it before, not in all the times I'd rummaged through here for holiday decorations or bike pumps. It felt out of place, deliberately shoved away like a secret someone didn't want found. Kneeling on the cold concrete floor, I wiped away the grime, my fingers leaving dark streaks. The lid was secured with a sturdy brass padlock. No key in sight. And there, etched faintly into the metal beneath the paint, were two initials, AB. Not David's. Not mine. A chill ran through me, the kind that whispers warnings you can't quite ignore. Who is AB? Why hide this here? In our home? The previous owners had been a retired couple who downsized to Florida years ago. But this didn't feel like their leftover junk. It felt personal, intentional. I rattled the lock, searching nearby shelves and drawers for a key under paint cans, in an old jar of nails, but nothing. The box sat there, solid and unyielding, daring me to walk away. But curiosity had already sunk its hooks in, mingling with a quiet unease that made my stomach twist. I thought about texting David, asking if he knew anything about it. But my thumb hovered over the screen and stopped. Something held me back, maybe those initials. Maybe the way it was hidden. Or maybe that growing whisper in my mind saying, "Not yet. See for yourself." I left it on the workbench, its presence looming as I finished cleaning. But my eyes kept drifting back. By evening, when David came home smelling faintly of unfamiliar perfume, I said nothing. We ate dinner in front of the TV, his hand absent-mindedly on his phone, and I wondered if I was imagining the distance between us. That night, sleep came in fits, the toolbox invading my dreams like a locked door I couldn't open. The next day, Sunday, I couldn't shake it. David headed out again for work stuff, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I crossed the street to my neighbor Karen's house. She's the type who's always tinkering in her yard, fixing things with that no-nonsense attitude. She was pruning her rose bushes when I approached, and I spilled it all in a hushed voice, the hidden box, the lock, the mysterious initials. Her eyes sparkled with intrigue. "Sounds like buried treasure, or maybe something juicier," she teased. But I could see the concern beneath. She grabbed her tool kit from her shed, a battered case full of pliers, screwdrivers, and gadgets, and we headed back to my garage. We set the box on the floor, and Karen inspected the lock like a detective. "This ain't cheap hardware," she muttered, tugging at it. Whoever locked this meant business. We tried prying it with a screwdriver, her holding steady while I twisted. But it groaned in resistance, leaving my hands raw. Then the hammer, gentle taps turning to frustrated pounds, but still, nothing gave. We sat back, sweating, and she cracked a joke about it hiding evidence of a scandal. But my laugh felt hollow. Deep down, a knot of dread was forming. Why go to such lengths to secure old tools? Karen suggested a locksmith. But I shook my head. I need to do this myself first. It was true. This felt like my secret now. A thread I had to pull alone. By afternoon, we'd exhausted her kit, pliers slipping, a mini hacksaw barely scratching the surface. Karen packed up with a sympathetic smile. "Call me when you crack it. I want to know the dirt." Alone again. I stared at the box under the slanting sunlight from the window, the brass lock gleaming mockingly. Those initials, AB, stared back, stamped with purpose. Whoever they belonged to. This was theirs, and now it was in my hands. I made a vow then. Silent and fierce, I'd get inside. No matter what. It took until Tuesday, after David left for his job as a sales rep, or so he claimed, for me to escalate. I'd had enough of gentle prodding. I dragged the box outside to the shed, grabbed the bolt cutters we'd bought years ago for a fence project, and positioned the blades around the lock. My arms strained, muscles burning as I squeezed with everything I had. For a heartbeat, I thought it'd hold forever. Then, snap, the brass gave way, clattering to the ground. I stood there, breath ragged, staring at the unlatched lid. Opening it felt like crossing into forbidden territory, a point of no return. But I lifted it anyway. The scent wafted out first, stale paper mixed with a faint floral whisper, like wilted roses from a forgotten bouquet. Inside, items were arranged with eerie precision, velvet jewelry cases on top. I popped one open, a pearl necklace, elegant and expensive. Another revealed a diamond pendant, and inside its locket, a photo of a woman I didn't know. Her smile warm and intimate. My pulse quickened. Beneath were bundled photos, rubber banded tight. Flipping through, my world tilted, David in every one. Laughing at candlelit dinners, arm around this same woman on beach walks. Their faces close in ways that screamed more than friendship. Intimate. Secret. My throat tightened as I dug deeper, receipts in an envelope. For lavish hotels in Portland. Upscale jewelry shops. Dinners at places we'd never gone together. Dates spanning years. Amounts that made my head spin. How had we afforded this? At the bottom, tied with a silk ribbon, a stack of letters in David's handwriting, addressed to Anna A.B. I realized with a sickening lurch. I skimmed one. Words like, "I count the days until I can hold you," burning into me. I repacked it all, hands shaking, the broken lock mocking me from the floor. This wasn't junk. It was a shrine to betrayal, hidden in our own home. The care he'd taken to preserve it twisted the knife deeper, not discarded, but cherished in secret. I told myself that was enough, that I'd stop there. But repacking, my fingers brushed something cold at the bottom, a slim burner phone. Cracked screen. Model from years back. Not David's usual iPhone. I hesitated, then pocketed it. By morning, I plugged it in while brewing coffee, watching the screen flicker to life. No passcode, arrogant, or careless. Contacts were sparse, but Anna jumped out. Texts flooded the screen, recent ones like, "Miss you already." "Same spot tonight." Replies, "Can't wait." Love. Scrolling back revealed years of intimacy, plans for getaways, shared dreams, declarations that shredded my heart. Wish this was our life every day. The photo app was worse. Selfies in hotel beds. Her in lingerie. David grinning like a man reborn. My coffee went cold as nausea hit. Signs I'd ignored flashed back. Late nights, at the office, sudden trips. His growing detachment. Undeniable now. I hid the phone back in the box, shoving it under the workbench. When David came home, I played the part, smiles, small talk, a kiss goodnight. But inside, rage simmered with hurt. A silent storm building. I wasn't just hurt, I was awake. And if he thought he could keep this shadow life, he'd learn otherwise. Lying beside him that night, his snore steady, I replayed every lie. How many mornings had I woken to this facade? By dawn, resolve hardened, I wouldn't confront yet. I'd watch, gather, know everything. I started subtle, noting his late meetings, the exact times he left and returned. His phone, always face down now, buzzing with texts he'd check discreetly. I'd smell that foreign cologne clinging to his shirts, see the extra care in his grooming. I tested him, casual questions about client dinners, then Googled the spots. Checked traffic cams. One day, I drove by his office mid-afternoon, car gone. No sign of him. Suspicion turned to certainty. I kept notes in a hidden app on my phone, dates, discrepancies. That cologne's brand I identified online. Doubt flickered sometimes, maybe innocent explanations? But the box's contents drowned it out. Nights, I'd sit with it in the garage, lid closed. A talisman of his deceit. I wasn't his oblivious wife anymore. I was the one in control. Observing from the shadows. A pattern emerged, late meetings on Tuesdays and Fridays. Home by 10 p.m. Mood suspiciously lifted. When he announced another Friday one. Wearing his best shirt, the one I'd gifted for our anniversary, and dodging my eyes. I knew. No more notes. Time to see. I feigned busyness as he left, then followed in my car. Heart hammering. Staying back was agony, counting seconds at lights. Palms slick. He pulled into a strip mall in a nearby town. Not his office. I parked distant. Watched him slip behind buildings to a cozy bistro's back entrance. There she was, Anna. From the photos. Hair glowing under the light. They stood close. Her hand on his arm. His gaze adoring, a look he'd once given me. I froze behind a wall. Breath shallow. As they walked to a hidden speakeasy nearby. Arm in arm. No confrontation then, I drove home. Knuckles white. Mind racing. But now I knew their spot. The betrayal wasn't abstract anymore. It was flesh and blood. Stabbing deeper. The next morning, calm settled like armor. David kissed me goodbye. Oblivious. I planned meticulously, called the bistro posing as an event planner. Scouted the speakeasy online. Then my old college friend Mia. A freelance photographer with a sharp eye for candidates. We mapped it out. I'd confirm they were there. She'd capture proof. That evening, I told David I was meeting a friend. Dressed unassumingly. And headed out. Mia waited nearby. Inside the dim bar. Low jaws humming. I spotted them, hands entwined. Whispering. I slipped out. Signaled Mia. She entered casually. Lens discreet. Snapping their intimacy, laughs. Touches. Stolen glances. Then I strode in. David's face drained of color. Hand jerking away. Sarah, he stammered, my name. Like a plea. Anna blinked. Confused. I leaned close, I'm his wife. And this ends now. Mia kept shooting, his guilt. Her shock. I walked out. head high. But inside, the hurt roared. By the time he stormed home, I'd emailed the photos to his boss. Affairs violated company policy. His family, our mutual friends group chat. No words, just truth. He burst in, furious. What have you done? I met his eyes coldly. What you deserved. Everyone knows now, he raged. Then begged. But I stayed silent, the clock ticking like judgment. He left that night, defeated. I kept the toolbox, not for proof, but as a reminder of the blindness I'd escaped. The revenge tasted bitter. The silence between us shattered forever. But in the ruins, I found my strength, paid for in tears and trust lost.